So seduction goes beyond sex or just trying to attract a member of the opposite sex. In its purest form, seduction is about your appeal and your ability to draw people to you, where when they spend time with you, they cannot get enough of you. So it's your aura, your energy, your mindset, your behavior, the things you say, how you interact with people, and even the way you carry yourself. So in today's video, we're going to look at the opposite of seduction, so that if you spot any of these traits in yourself, you will know what to start working on, because on this channel we are all about continuous personal development. Let's get into the video. Hello intentional woman, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayani May, and the first anti-seductive trait is body or mouth odor. Yes, we're starting here because nobody has ever gone on a date and then, got back home and said to her friend, oh my God, it was such a wonderful date. He was a gentleman. We had deep conversations. And when I hugged him, his body odor was so appealing. That can never happen, because any sort of bad odor coming out from a human being is an assault to our senses. It instantly repels people, makes us uncomfortable, and anytime we find ourselves around such people, it becomes an exercise in how long you can hold your breath for. So making sure that you smell good is non-negotiable. You know how a man who smells good instantly becomes attractive and memorable? Well, the same thing happens to men when we smell good. We instantly become seductive without doing too much. So invest in soaps, body oils, body sprays, and perfumes that smell yummy. Take care of your dental health. Be obsessed with your feminine hygiene and health. And pay attention to fabrics. Oh yes, because some fabrics are so poorly made that they smell. They have this eggy chemical smell, and it's not about the clothing item being dirty, it's actually the fabric. When I found out this one, I realized, oh my goodness, it's possible that some people do not even have body odor, it's just the bad fabric. So you can test this out. After laundry, give your clothes a sniff so you know if there's anyone in there you need to throw out. Number 2, feeling entitled to a man's money. There's a video I saw recently where a girl said that anytime a man asks for her number and she shares it with him, the next day she bills him because she wants to know his capacity. I cringed when I watched that video because that sort of entitlement is destructive. The saddest part is that influencers are pushing this narrative on social media, and this has robbed a lot of women the opportunity of being with a good, generous man who opens up his pocket when there is an emotional connection. I have heard so many horror stories from men. It's so bad that if a man asks a girl out on a date now, he's expected to buy her a dress, get her hair done, her nails done, her makeup done, send an Uber or a driver to pick her up. This is not about me being a pick-me, because that's what some people will say, but if you need a man asking you on a date to attend to your self-care, then there is a problem. If you've been on this channel for a while, you will know that I advocate for women to date generous, wholesome provider men. But this is not the way to go about it. In my experience, when a man starts showering you with money right after meeting you, it usually means he's love bombing you. He believes that with money he can get you, reducing you to a transaction, or he really has nothing else to offer you except that money. And as a wholesome woman, alarm bells should be going off in your head. Most women who are in healthy relationships and are being spoiled silly with cash and gifts will tell you that it did not start that way. It built up to it, and that has always been my experience too. I remember my friends telling me weeks into her relationship that she's in the financial stage of her relationship, and I told her congratulations, because that meant she was being spoiled silly. And that is not to say you should be with a stingy man. Not at all. All I am saying is do not start off entitled to his money, asking for things after the first date, or sharing all your family problems with him on the second date, all in the hopes of getting money out of him. It is a turn off to a wholesome man. So how do you know you're not wasting your time with a man who is stingy? Well, when you pay attention, you can still know a generous man even at the talking to each other stage. You will see it in his willingness and thoughtfulness towards you. Again, it may be small because it's just a new relationship, but that can also tell you that it will only get bigger and better as your relationship progresses. So do not allow popular opinion keep you single or make you miss the opportunity of being with a good, wholesome, generous man. The third anti-seductive trait is thinking that revealing a lot of skin means you're being seductive. So there's dressing in an alluring way, and then there's dressing in a vulgar way. And sadly, we live in a time where nudity is being celebrated as body positivity, an era where some women feel like the more body they expose, the more sexually appealing they are and the more men they'll attract. I guess we have movies to blame for this, because anytime a woman wants to seduce a man in a film, she takes off her clothes. But that is not the type of seduction we're going for here. Because as much as you'll attract all sorts of men, if you wear something that is really, really revealing and provocative, it doesn't mean they will value the woman who comes with the package. In fact, wholesome men will not approach you, even though they may look at you, and wholesome women will not want to befriend you because they will be ashamed of being seen with you, which can make building meaningful, influential connections extremely difficult. At the end of the day, not all attention is good attention. Now, this doesn't mean you should cover up just because of men or the society, or you should cover up to places like the beach, the gym, or when you're going dancing. Not at all. What I'm doing here is specifically addressing the misconception that the more skin you reveal, the more high value men or the more seductive you are. So when aiming for that seductive look, show your skin tastefully and be mindful of the timing and setting. I'll link a video in the description where I share with you how you can elegantly show skin. Number 4, being judgmental and critical of others. Contrary to what a recent viral video made some new people think of me, I'm not a judgmental person. That is why anytime a woman in this community experiences me in person, they always say, "Oh wow, you're so cool. I thought you were going to correct my sitting posture or you were going to correct my table manners." I'm always surprised because I do not even do that with my friends. Talk more of strangers. I am of the school of thought that the teacher will be here when the student is ready. So I don't need to judge and criticize people when they come around me. I am saying all of that to say this. When you are judgmental and critical of people, you make it nearly impossible for them to be themselves around you. Nobody wants to feel like they are constantly under a microscope, being scrutinized, every movement, gesture judged, and their flaws magnified. If you've ever been around a judgmental person, think about it. Were you comfortable? Were you able to be yourself? Probably not. I'm sure you were edgy, defensive, guarded, second-guessing every move and worrying about what they're going to think. It's a horrible feeling. So if you want to truly be a seductive woman, be more curious than judgmental. I saw that phrase in a movie, curiosity over judgment, and I always try to embody that. So show compassion, empathy, be open-minded, and have a willingness to understand others. And I promise you, this will make you a magnet for genuine friendships and romantic relationships. The 5th anti-seductive trait is lack of poise. So when someone lacks poise, which is grace, elegance, or deportment, it's usually a combination of different things, like being crass and crude, shouting and being the loudest in public, sitting or talking inappropriately, engaging in malicious gossip, tearing people down. For people like this, they talk too much, oversharing sensitive information in the process, they have poor emotional control, no manners, a complete lack of basic etiquette and self-awareness. For people like this, anything goes. They do not have any respect for their environment or for the people they are with. Have you ever been around somebody like that? Did you find them attractive? Did you want to spend time with them? Probably not. I'm sure you wanted to remove yourself from their presence as quickly as possible. Sadly, many women justify these types of behavior by saying, this is the real me. Take me as I am. I don't want to be fake. And this is what I always say in response to that. Personality and presentation are two different things. Presenting yourself in the best of light in any setting doesn't mean your personality should undergo a drastic change. It's like you saying that if I tell you to sit with good posture, that little tip will change you from a fun, playful, sassy person into a rigid and unapproachable person without a sense of humor. Does that make sense? It doesn't, right? So poise is not about not being true to yourself. It is finding a balance between presenting yourself in the best of light while also being true to yourself. The best part is that poise contributes to positive and an engaging presence, which is really attractive to others, while crass and crude behavior will forever remain anti-seductive. Number 6, clinginess and neediness. So I recently saw a news article where it said a woman sent 500 text messages to a man after the first date. And I was like, say what now? I know that's an extreme case, almost some sort of stalkery behavior, but neediness and clinginess in any form is rarely attractive. It's usually worse if it is a new relationship or friendship. Let me know if any of these sound attractive to you. A man constantly texting or calling you even when you had told him you will be busy. A man becoming upset when you want to spend time with other people. Someone in your life constantly seeking reassurance and validation of their self-worth or the worth of your relationship with them. Somebody you know having difficulty functioning when you are not around. Always wanting to know where you are. Does any of that sound seductive to you? Of course not. It reeks of insecurity and desperation. The embarrassing thing is that this is one of the anti-seductive traits I exhibited in the past, and every time I think back on my behavior, I have to forgive myself over and over again. I just remember how my happiness was so dependent on my partner's behavior, how I needed constant validation of our relationship and even my self-worth. Thank God for healing. I sometimes cringe. I can imagine how this made my partner at the time feel. So you do not want to do this to the other person. You do not want to be that person carrying a sign that says, without you, I cannot be happy. It's overwhelming and it puts them under pressure. Show a little independence. Give him space to breathe. Pursue your own interests, because that is what will make you really, really attractive to him or anybody in your life. Number 7 is twofold, but it's very similar. So I'm going to merge them together, and that is constant negativity or complaining without ever taking action. One of the reasons negativity is such a major turn off is that it kills hope. And let's face it, hopelessness is an awful feeling. So when you're constantly negative, you push people away. Nobody wants to be around that person who constantly sucks out the positivity in a room. I call these types of people energy vampires, where spending any little time with them sucks you of all your joy and you walk around feeling hopeless and anxious. One sure way of knowing if you have somebody in your life who is an energy vampire is when the phone rings, their name pops up on the screen and you're instantly drained. Complaining does the same thing. And some people are so good at complaining. They complain about anything and everything. And the worst part is when they complain without ever taking action to change things. It is draining, frustrating, and insensitive. So do not be that person who takes advantage of your friend's empathy to rant and rant about all the terrible things going on in your life without a single thought to what may be going on in theirs. Now, I'm not saying you should plaster on a fake smile and act like everything is okay when it's not at all. What I'm saying is, instead of always focusing on the worst case scenario, how about learning how to focus on the best case scenario? Learn how to strike a balance between the two, because what will attract people to you is your ability to change their negative emotions into positive ones using your outlook. This recently played out in my life. So we are currently putting together our first physical event. It's going to be a formal dining event with networking for high value women. I'll share the details when we're ready. So I had fears about it, and I reached out to a friend and told her what my fears were, and she fed into those fears. I ended that call and I nearly gave up. Then I called another friend who had done a similar event, and when I shared my vision of the event with her, she said, sign me up. That sounds like something women need right now. A place to dine, learn something, and network. I ended that phone call feeling confident, empowered, and sure about the path I was taking. She essentially seduced me by her positive thinking. And now I know who to go to when I need that boost of positivity. And also there and then, I made the decision to always be that person to others. And you should do the same. I'm telling you, it is downright attractive. Number 8, lack of respect for boundaries. There are so many ways one can show a lack of respect for boundaries. It can be overstepping someone's personal space, giving unsolicited advice, persisting even when someone has clearly said no, prying into private matters, touching without consent, making decisions for others, dismissing or downplaying others' boundaries as unimportant, showing up unannounced or uninvited, trying to get too familiar too quickly, and having a complete lack of self-awareness about boundaries. Whatever the case may be, this is a surefire way of making somebody uncomfortable. And as we have established earlier on in the video, being seductive means people are comfortable around you. So respecting people's boundaries is non-negotiable if you want to be that seductive woman. And you must still respect the boundaries even when it doesn't really make sense to you. Number 9, dishonesty. Now, I am not talking about little white lies we tell to be polite or to save someone some form of embarrassment, like telling someone you enjoyed their food when you did not. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the type of lies that ruin lives. The type of lies that wrecks reputation. The lie that is being told even when it's not necessary. Where everybody starts to know this person as a dishonest person. This can be such a hindrance to your growth. It can make it difficult cultivating meaningful relationships because this trait breaks trust, destroys credibility when the lie is found out, increases suspicions because the person's motives will forever be questioned. And the worst part is there can never be any room for safety or vulnerability with that kind of person. Amazingly, when you are honest about difficult situations instead of trying to lie and cover up for it, you instantly become attractive. I don't know if that has ever happened to you where you expect someone to lie to you, but they owned up to what happened and they apologized, and instantly you're like, okay, this is somebody I want in my life. That is just how much we value honesty. It's a really attractive quality, and I'm not talking about manipulative honesty. I mean genuine honesty. So let us, as intentional women, try to be as honest as possible because it will draw people to us. Now, last but not least, stinginess. I like that I'm ending this video with this one. So this is not just about money, okay? It is about being stingy with your time, your resources, your words, compliment, where it's so difficult paying compliment to somebody when they look good, when they've accomplished something. It is being scared of sharing what you have with others because you feel that if you do, it'll finish. I am embarrassed to say that before I started this journey, was where I operated from. I operated from that place of lack and scarcity, and I was always so scared of sharing certain things, of course, not everything, but sharing certain things with people. Thank God for this journey. I will keep saying it, thank God for this journey. Okay, because now I understand what abundance is. I understand that whatever I share with somebody, I can get it back tenfold. And another aspect of stinginess is being stingy even with yourself. I mean, I can understand being stingy about certain things, maybe because it's difficult to replace it, so you don't really want to share it with someone. But what I'll never understand is being stingy with yourself. Pinching pennies when you don't have to. Refusing to give yourself certain experiences, even when you can afford it over and over and over. It is such an unattractive trait because in my experience, stingy people take without ever giving. And it's not always the big things. It can show up in the small things too. It can be never buying a gift for that wonderful man you're dating, never sending a birthday cake for a wonderful friend, never offering to help somebody, even when it's not about money, or even offering to pay for something that you and your friend are doing together, even when you can afford to. I'm not saying you should stretch yourself thin and scatter everything you have thinking you get it back. No, I'm just saying be thoughtful, kind, and generous to the people in your life. Be generous in your deeds, in your resources, in your words. If someone looks good, tell them they look good. Because some people are really stingy with compliments. When you are this way, it'll make people drawn to you. Now, there are tons of anti-seductive traits, such as lack of ambition, self-centeredness, aggression, arrogance, indifference, close-mindedness, stubbornness. But I'll stop here so that this video is not too long. You can share any other anti-seductive trait you can think of in the comment section. And that's it for today's video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because on this channel I create content that helps you become a better version of yourself for yourself. Trust me, you will love it here. As always, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.